The story begins with a group of soldiers chasing a prisoner. They soon catch him and force him to kneel. The captain then pulls out his gun and places it against the prisoner's head. He is just about to pull the trigger when, at the last moment, Jan arrives, and the captain changes his mind. Instead of killing him, they drag the prisoner back to their camp. When he is brought before the Japanese commander, Ito, the commander shows no mercy. He immediately orders his soldiers to behead the prisoner. After that, James is taken far away from the camp to an isolated area. Captain Hirano orders him to kneel. James quietly obeys. Hirano then draws his sword and places it on James's neck, checking for the perfect angle so he could sever his head with a single strike. But just as Hirano raises his sword to kill him, James moves back at the last second, causing the strike to miss. Seeing this, the guards rush to attack him, but James kills all of them, sparing not even their captain. To escape, James runs into the forest. The Japanese soldiers chase after him and eventually track him down. In his panic, he falls into one of the traps they had set, and his knife drops out of reach. Unable to cut himself free, he is captured again. When he is brought back to camp, the commander asks angrily why he is still alive. "I ordered him to be killed." The captain replies that James tried to escape but was caught in their trap. When the commander learns that James killed his soldiers and Captain Hirano, his blood boils with rage. He approaches James, rips off his army badge, and says, "Hirano was like a brother to me. By killing him, you have made the biggest mistake of your life. Celebrate your victory today, because tomorrow we will kill you like a dog." After James is taken away, the captain says, "If you wish, I can kill him right now." But the commander replies that this prisoner does not fear death. He needs a punishment that no one has ever faced before. The next day, a fight was scheduled, a fight in which they planned to slowly torture James to death, making his death an example for all the other prisoners. James is then thrown into his cell, which is watched by guards around the clock. The Japanese had imprisoned many others like him, and several had already died because of torture. At night, the prisoners talk among themselves. One man tells James, "We may be prisoners here, but we still follow our military discipline. There are rules everyone must follow, or surviving here becomes impossible. Our commander is here too, but he's kept in another cell. He'll meet you tomorrow." James replies, "I don't even know whether I'll be alive tomorrow. The Japanese threatened to kill me." When the others learn that James killed 3 of their men, including a captain, they begin praying for him. James thinks about escaping that night. But another prisoner tells him, "Escaping isn't difficult. The real question is, where will you go? This camp only keeps those alive who can work day and night. The weaker prisoners are being sent to another camp, 100 kilometers away. We heard they are being forced to march on foot, and many have died along the way." Hearing this, James starts wishing they had just killed him earlier. The next morning, all the prisoners are brought outside. Following Commander Ito's orders, a soldier walks up to James with a sword. James assumes his end has come, but instead of killing him, the soldier unties his hands, shocking James. Then 3 more prisoners are brought into a fighting ring. Ito announces that these 3 were caught hiding food in their cells. To ensure no one else does the same, he must teach them a lesson today. He sits down in a chair, relaxed. As if a show is about to begin, a bell rings, and from behind emerges a fighter whom the prisoners knew as the Merchant of Death. The 3 prisoners are told to fight him. They are no match for this man, but refusing to fight would mean immediate death. One of them gathers courage and attacks, but the fighter knocks him down with a single punch. The others try too, but none can stand against him. He beats them mercilessly until they are half dead. The fight ends almost as soon as it begins. Now, it is James's turn. Ito declares that the fight will continue until one of them dies. The fighter is ready, but he makes the mistake of underestimating James. As soon as he steps forward to make his first strike, James knocks him out with a single punch. Then James tightens his fist and strikes him again on the head, so powerfully that the fighter dies instantly. Their strongest fighter, James killed him like a mere cockroach. No one standing there could believe what had just happened. Ito was so furious that he stormed inside in anger. His captain said, "You must finish him right now." But Ito replied, "He is not like the other prisoners. He will pay for this. If not today, then tomorrow, but he will die." The next day, a prisoner named Gabriel asked James, "Your hands aren't hurting? You really killed him yesterday?" Soon after, James meets Colin, who had been their captain. One of Colin's legs had been injured in an explosion, making it difficult for him to walk. Colin asks, "Where did you learn to fight like that? I've been here for months. No one has ever walked out of that ring alive." James answers, "Not from one place. I trained in Hong Kong, Thailand, even Japan." Soon, the captain arrives and tells James to come with him. James is taken to Ito, who asks the same question, where he learned their fighting techniques. But James does not give him a direct answer. Ito notices James's father's badge, and when James asks for it back, Ito refuses. Instead, as punishment for disrespect, Ito slices James's face with a blade. He warns him again, "Sleep well tonight. Tomorrow, your death is certain." The next day, James prepares for another fight. The moment he steps outside, all the prisoners begin shouting his name, but they soon realize the fight is completely unfair. There is a line of fighters waiting to kill James, and he must fight them all at once. The bell rings. The fight begins. All of them rush toward James together, but James is fully prepared. He beats them one by one. Some are beaten so badly they try to run out of the ring, but James grabs them and continues fighting. At the end, he grabs one fighter by the throat and begins choking him. The man he's choking is Japanese too, but none of the others help him. Finally, James decides to spare his life on his own. Ito is humiliated once again, and the way James was inspiring the prisoners was becoming a threat to the entire camp. Colin asks, "Why didn't you kill him?" James replies, "Because he was only following his commander's orders. He did what he was told. He doesn't want to die, just like us." Meanwhile, Ito orders the soldiers who lost the fight to be shot. This shows that he had absolutely no humanity, not even for his own men. Gabriel says that in a week, they will be moved to another camp. Maybe that place would be better than this hell. But Colin knows the Japanese well. More than half the prisoners would be killed on the way, especially those who couldn't walk properly. James says he needs a radio. If the military is stationed at the coast, then there's a strong chance they can contact them through that radio. One of the guards in the watchtower has a radio. So the next day, some prisoners start a fight inside the camp. The guards see the chaos and rush down to stop them. At that exact moment, James climbs up the tower and steals the guards' radio. The guards fire into the air to scare the prisoners, but by then, James has already completed his mission. Meanwhile, a nurse spots James. He tells her to stay quiet, but then a guard arrives and starts harassing the nurse. When she resists, he slaps her so hard that she falls to the ground. Luckily, he does not see James and leaves. James feels terrible for the nurse, but he can't do anything. He quickly hides the radio and cleverly sneaks it back into his cell. One prisoner warns, "You know we can only listen with this radio. If we send out a signal for help, we'll be caught. And if they find out a radio is missing, they'll torture us until they get it back." But James replies, "Don't worry, they have plenty of radios. One missing won't be noticed." The next day, Ito gathers all the prisoners outside and says some of them were seen entering restricted areas of the camp. He points his finger toward Colin, but Colin says, "You're pointing at the wrong man." Then the guard sees one of the prisoners. He is dragged into the ring and interrogated for the names of the others involved. Ito promises to spare his life in exchange for information. The prisoner gives the names, but then Ito does not keep his promise and has both of them killed. That night, James goes to the prisoner who knew them and asks, "You knew those two, didn't you? If they knew the way out, then you must know it too." The prisoner is afraid James might betray him as well, so he refuses to tell him anything. But after repeated requests from everyone, he finally reveals a blind spot, a place from where someone could slip out of the camp without being spotted by the guards. That same night, James sneaks out with the radio. Making his way through dense forests, he gets far from the camp. When he switches on the radio, he hears voices speaking in the Navajo language. Meanwhile, a soldier checks their cell. He sees every prisoner in their place. But when he lifts the sheet on James's bed, he finds only empty sacks. James is gone. Strangely, the soldier makes no noise and quietly walks away. James listens to the radio for a while and then returns to the camp before anyone can notice. The next day, the three prisoners gather again. James says the Americans are nearby. They were talking in Navajo code. He couldn't understand what they were saying, but he has a plan to escape. He explains that when he arrived at the camp, he saw a glider. Colin says, "Yes, there is a glider, but it has no motor. It can't fly." James replies, "It's not a normal glider. It has a hook attached to it. A plane can tow it upward." His plan is simple. If a pilot can lower his aircraft close enough, they could hook the glider onto it and be pulled into the sky. Gabriel warns, "If anything goes wrong, we won't be able to make the connection. This is extremely risky." They are still discussing when a guard arrives and orders James to come with him. James is brought before Ito again, but this time Ito treats him with respect. He even offers him a chair. Ito asks, "What do you know about the Navajos?" James replies that he doesn't know anything about it. Ito explains that it is an "if you don't know, then your American friends surely do. I want you to find out who can help me decode it." James says, "Even if someone knows, why would they tell you Japanese?" Pero Ito believes that a man will do anything to save his life. He warns, "If no one talks, none of you will ever see your family again. If you survive in this camp, you'll die during the march. And if you survive the march, hell awaits you in the other camp." But James is not scared by his threats. The guards take him away. Ito says, "I could kill him right now if I wanted, but that is not my biggest problem." The captain asks, "What could be more dangerous to us than this man? We should kill him immediately." But Ito suddenly shouts, "We are about to be attacked! The Americans and British are close and can strike at any moment." The next day, they torture James brutally. He is beaten with sticks until his body can barely move. His strength is almost gone, but the torture does not end there. In this condition, they force him to fight again. They make the huge mistake of underestimating him. The moment his hands are untied, James attacks like a wounded lion. He shows mercy to no one, beating them so severely that hardly any of them can even stand afterward. The captain scolds his soldiers, yelling, "You are all cowards! You lost to a single prisoner." He begs Ito to give him permission to kill James immediately, but Ito deliberately refuses the order. Humiliated by his defeat, Ito instead shoots a few prisoners in anger and storms back to his camp. Due to his injuries, James loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself in the Japanese medical camp. They have treated his wounds properly and assigned him a nurse. James recognizes her. Her name is Thalessa, and she is also a prisoner like him. Thalessa tells him that Ito has been unable to sleep at night. He believes an attack could happen at any moment, and if it does, he will not leave any prisoner alive. That night, Ito visits James and tells him, "You are a strong fighter, but you still have many more to face. Rest today, because tomorrow you will die." James replies, "Enough already? Ever since I came here, you've said that 3 times. If you want to kill me, then why all this drama? If everyone keeps fighting me like this, they will all die, and in the end, only you will be left. Then what will you do? Fight me yourself?" Ito says nothing and quietly walks away. James returns to his fellow prisoners, who are relieved to see him alive. One of them explains that while James was in the medical camp, several American planes had flown overhead. It was now clear that the Americans were very close. They only needed to contact them through the radio. They all knew the risk. Sending a signal could get them caught, but it was their only chance. That night, James and Gabriel slip out of the camp again. But after going only a short distance, a guard spots them. James immediately realizes that escaping tonight is impossible. He doesn't want to kill another guard and make things worse, so they return to their cell. Soon after, guards rush into their barracks, but find everyone inside exactly where they should be. The next morning, Ito gathers all the prisoners again. He announces that the previous night, some prisoners had broken out of their barracks and attacked the guards. "I know this wasn't the work of a single man," he says. "Anyone involved should step forward." James sees that they have tortured Colin badly. He steps forward and says, "You caught the wrong man. I'm the one who killed those guards." Ito says he appreciates James' honesty, but he adds that James was not alone last night. "We caught him red-handed," he says as they bring another prisoner forward. Ito orders James to kill that prisoner. He makes a deal. If James kills him, Colin will be spared. But James refuses to kill someone who is unarmed and weaker than him. So Ito shoots the man in front of James's eyes. And because James didn't obey, Ito prepares to do the same to Colin. The moment the soldiers move toward Colin, Colin lashes out with explosive fury. He attacks them so violently that their screams echo across the camp. The guards eventually overpower him and lock him back inside his cell. That night, James goes to Ito and demands that he release Colin. Ito replies that Colin broke the rules, and the punishment for that is death. James challenges him, "If you have the courage, fight me yourself." Ito snaps back, "I have courage," but he is a cunning man. His philosophy is, never fight a battle you might lose. James spits at his cowardice and calls him a spineless man. The guards drag James out of the camp. James realizes that their plan must happen tonight. They will send the signal now. Their plan is to include a few Navajo words in the message. This would keep the Japanese busy trying to decode it, and by the time they realized it meant nothing, it would be too late. As night falls, James and Gabriel escape again. They pull out the radio and begin sending the signal. Fortunately, their frequency matches the American radio. They can hear each other clearly now. Gabriel begins speaking key words. Glider, glider, no motor, east, 27 degrees. A reply comes. Copy that. They also add a few random words to confuse the Japanese. Gabriel gets worried. We've said too much. What if our own people can't understand the message? But James reassures him. Don't worry, they know how difficult it was for us to send this signal. They'll decode it. They return to the camp, but find the barracks completely empty. Suddenly, guards surround them and beat them unconscious. When James wakes up, the battle has already begun. The Americans are bombing the Japanese camp. Massive explosions rip the camp apart. The Japanese, desperate and panicking, begin killing the prisoners before fleeing. Thalessa frees James's hands and explains, "Right after you were caught, the camp was attacked. Ito has gone insane. He is killing everyone." When they step outside, they see the whole camp in ruins. Prisoners who tried to escape were shot on the spot. Suddenly, a bomb drops from above, blowing several guards to pieces. James and the others run toward the tower, but the path is crowded with more guards. Talessa tells him, "You go, we'll handle them." She and her friend pretend to have severe stomach pain to lure a guard close. When he approaches, they stab him repeatedly and kill him. Meanwhile, James climbs the tower to retrieve the radio. He sees guards executing prisoners one by one. His friends are next. James abandons everything else and rushes to save them. Just as the guards are about to shoot, James opens fire. The prisoners seize the moment and attack the guards. Elsewhere, Colin fights the Japanese captain. The fight is intense, both evenly matched. Colin is about to kill him when suddenly someone shoots Colin from behind, killing him instantly. At the same time, James storms into Ito's camp. Ito is sitting calmly, as if waiting for him. James says, "You're not escaping this time." Ito replies, "Who said I'm running?" and throws a sword at James, challenging him to a fight. They fight, but Ito cannot withstand James's strength for long. When Ito's sword slips from his hand, he pulls out a gun, but James throws him aside and tosses the gun away. James beats him brutally and is about to kill him when Gabriel stops him, urging him to escape immediately. Their plane was almost there to rescue them. The captain sees them running and is about to shoot, but Ito stops him. In Ito's eyes, you could clearly see defeat and humiliation. Even if he killed James right now, it wouldn't change the truth. Ito was a coward, so he lets James go. The survivors finally reach the glider. They tie it with ropes and secure a strong hook. Then, they all get inside. An American fighter plane appears above them, flying extremely low. It drops its tow hook and descends even lower. This was their first and only chance. A single mistake could ruin everything, but the hook catches onto the glider perfectly. The plane lifts them all into the air. They had done it. They had escaped the camp. Not everyone in the camp was as fortunate. Many prisoners never got the chance to escape. James promises himself that he will return for them one day and free everyone still trapped there. 8 years later, after World War II ends, James returns to Japan. He is there to face Ito because their old account was still unsettled, but Ito is nowhere to be found. Instead, James meets Ito's son. When Ito's son learns that James is the fighter responsible for the shame his father carried throughout his life, he orders his students to teach James a lesson. James has not come to fight, but he is forced to. He takes down all of them alone, leaving even Suke, Ito's son, stunned. Soon, everyone gives up. Suke approaches James and asks why he has come. James then learns that Ito died a year earlier, but before dying, Ito told his son everything about James. Upon hearing this, James turns to leave without saying a word, but Suke stops him and requests a fight. He wants to know whether everything his father said about James was true. James agrees. Suke attacks with his best move, but James already knows it and easily defeats him. It was just a small demonstration. If James wanted, he could have ended Suke's life with one strike. Instead, he refuses to kill him, offers his hand, and ends the fight peacefully. Suke says that his father told him James would return one day because Ito still had something valuable that belonged to him. That precious thing was James's badge, the one Ito had taken from him years ago. Suke returns the badge to James and says his father kept it safe, hoping James would come back for it someday. The two bow to each other in respect. James takes the badge and leaves. With this, the story comes to an end. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. If we reach 500 likes on this video, the next part will be uploaded right away. Your support truly motivates us to bring more powerful stories for you. Also, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you liked, what surprised you, and what you want to see next. Your feedback helps us improve every single time. I'll see you all in the next video.